Why digital nomads are dumping the USA for Malaysia. Right now, something is happening in cities across America, and almost no one is talking about it openly. Thousands of educated, skilled, working Americans, people with good jobs, real talent, and genuine options, are picking up everything they own and moving to a country most of their friends couldn't point to on a map. Not retiring. Not vacationing. Leaving. Permanently. And their new home? Malaysia. But wait, before we get into this, please subscribe so you never miss out on any of my essential content. Comment "I subscribe" below right now, and I will personally welcome you to our community. With that said, let's get into this. In 2023, over 1.5 million Americans formally emigrated from the United States. That's not a typo. 1.5 million people looked at the country they were born in, raised in, paid taxes in for years, and said, "This is no longer working for me." And of all the places they could have gone, Europe, Latin America, Southeast Asia, a growing, undeniable wave of them keeps ending up in one specific country. Malaysia. Not Thailand. Not Bali. Malaysia. And when you understand why, you will never look at the global map the same way again. Mitik. 34 years old. Software engineer from Austin, Texas. $140,000 salary. Sounds great on paper, right? Except his rent was $2,400 a month. His student loan payments ate another $600. Health insurance, car payment, groceries. Suddenly his six-figure salary felt like a trap. At the end of every month, he was barely breaking even. No savings. No investment. Just survival, dressed up in the aesthetic of success. One night, scrolling through a Reddit thread at 1 a.m., he stumbled on a post from a developer living in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, paying $580 a month for a fully furnished high-rise apartment with a rooftop pool, gym, and a view of the Petronas Towers. Jake thought it was a scam. It wasn't. Here's the number that will rearrange your thinking. According to Numbio's 2024 Cost of Living Index, Kuala Lumpur is 73% cheaper than New York City. 73, not 15%. Not 30%. 73%. That means if you're earning a remote income in US dollars and living in KL, your purchasing power doesn't just improve, it multiplies. You're not just saving money. You're living a completely different tier of life for a fraction of what it would cost back home. Luxury apartment in KLCC, Kuala Lumpur City Center, the absolute heart of the city, right next to the Petronas Towers? You're looking at $600 to $900 a month. Fully furnished. High-speed internet. Building security. Concierge. In Austin, San Francisco, or New York, that gets you a walk-in closet if you're lucky. But the rent is just the beginning. Because here's what nobody talks about when they're comparing cost of living, and this is the part that truly broke Jake open. 6 months into his life in Malaysia, Jake got sick. Nothing serious. A respiratory infection, fever, the works. Back in Austin, this scenario triggered immediate financial anxiety. Do I have enough in my deductible? Is this covered? Should I just tough it out and not go? In Kuala Lumpur, he walked into a private clinic. Waited 12 minutes. Saw a doctor. Got medication. Walked out. The total bill? $22. He stood on the pavement outside that clinic in the afternoon heat of KL and just laughed. Not because it was funny, because for the first time in years, being sick didn't terrify him financially. The World Health Organization ranks Malaysia's healthcare system in the global top tier. International Living's 2024 Retirement and Expat Index placed Malaysia at number 5 in the entire world for quality of life, ahead of countries like Spain, France, and Japan. But let me ask you something. When's the last time you heard anyone talk about Malaysia in that context? This is rarely talked about in mainstream Western media, and there's a reason for that. Now let's talk about the legal infrastructure that's making all of this possible. Because this is where it gets really interesting. In 2022, Malaysia launched the Rantau Nomad Pass. It's a visa specifically created for remote workers and digital nomads. Legal. Official. Supported by the Malaysian government's Digital Economy Corporation, MDC. Requirements are straightforward. proof of remote employment or freelance income of at least $24,000 annually, valid health insurance, and a clean background check. Approved? You get up to 12 months of legal residence in Malaysia, renewable with access to co-working hubs, tax advantages, and a growing network of fellow nomads who are already living this life. In year 1 alone, MDC recorded over 4,000 approved DE Rantau applications. And the numbers have been climbing every quarter since. But here's the thing, the DE Rantau Pass is just the entry point. Because there's a second visa. One that goes even deeper. One that has been quietly operating for decades, and only recently started showing up in conversations among serious long-term relocators. It's called the MM2H, Malaysia My Second Home. And it is, without exaggeration, one of the most strategically powerful long-term residency visas available anywhere on Earth. The MM2H is a 10-year renewable multiple-entry visa, open to all nationalities. It gives holders the right to live, travel in and out of Malaysia freely, buy property, import a personal vehicle, and in some categories, bring a spouse, children, and even a domestic helper under the same application. Over 57,000 people from 130 countries hold this visa right now, according to Malaysia's immigration department. Only a few people know this. The MM2H was temporarily suspended and reformatted in 2021. When it relaunched, it came back stricter, but with a new premium tier that quietly added privileges the original version never had. Higher offshore income thresholds, yes, but in exchange, holders get access to property ownership benefits, medical passes, and multi-entry freedom that other Southeast Asian visas simply don't offer at this level. Marcus, 41, from Chicago, knows this better than most. After a difficult divorce and a decade of 60-hour work weeks, he found himself with a fully remote project management role and absolutely no desire to keep grinding in the same city for the same results. He applied for the DE Rantau Pass. Approved in 6 weeks. Moved to KL. 12 months later, switched to MM2H. Today, Marcus owns a condominium unit 4 minutes from the Petronas Towers. He paid $118,000 for it. In Chicago, in his old neighborhood, $118,000 is a down payment on a modest property, if you're lucky. Not the property, the down payment. But here's where this story stops being just about lifestyle and starts being about something much bigger. Something that should make every American, regardless of where they stand politically, stop and think. According to Gallup's 2023 Global Emotions Report, 16% of Americans are actively planning to permanently emigrate. Among 18 to 34-year-olds, the most economically productive demographic in the country, that number jumps to 24%. 1 in 4 young Americans is planning to leave. These aren't people who hate America. These are engineers, designers, developers, writers, consultants, high earners, high contributors, people who pay substantial taxes. And here's the brutal math that the government doesn't want to discuss loudly. When they leave, they take their tax dollars with them. Think about it like a bathtub. Every skilled worker who exits is a drop of water draining out. At first, you barely notice. But drain enough drops, consistently year after year, and eventually, you look down and the tub is empty. This is the brain drain. And it is real, it is accelerating, and it is quietly threatening the long-term fiscal architecture of the United States. But let's come back to the people actually living it. Because statistics are one thing, human experience is another. Meet Priya, 36, UX researcher from New Jersey. Left in 2022 with her laptop, 2 suitcases, and what she describes as the most terrifying, most necessary decision I've ever made. She went to Penang, a UNESCO World Heritage City on Malaysia's northwest coast, famous for its street art, its food culture, its colonial architecture, and its unique blend of Malay, Chinese, Indian, and British history all living in the same postcode. Back home, she told an Expat podcast in early 2023, I was anxious every single day. Not about anything specific. Just a constant background hum of stress. Traffic. Noise. The feeling that I was always behind. In Penang, that hum stopped. She described walking through the streets of Georgetown at 10 p.m., the hawker stalls lit up in warm orange light, the smell of char kway teow in the air, strangers nodding and smiling, the whole place feeling alive but unhurried. "I didn't know it was possible to feel this calm," she said. "I genuinely didn't know that was an option." Mercer's 2024 Quality of Living Index backs her up. Kuala Lumpur ranks above Miami, Dallas, and Atlanta. And Internation's 2024 Expat Insider Report, one of the largest surveys of expats globally, covering over 12,000 respondents, ranked Malaysia number 4 in the world for ease of settling in, and number 2 for making genuine local friendships. Number 2. In the world. If you're still watching at this point, you're already ahead of most people, you're asking the right questions. Go ahead and hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next, because we're about to get into the part most YouTube videos skip entirely. Here's the part no one tells you. Malaysia is not perfect. And if you go in with stars in your eyes and no preparation, you will hit a wall. Let me give you the 3 things that catch digital nomads completely off guard, because this is where the dream either dies or deepens. Number 1. Bureaucratic friction. Banking. This one sounds minor until it's your entire problem for 3 weeks. Opening a local Malaysian bank account as a foreigner can be an exercise in patience and persistence. Requirements change. Branch policies differ. Some applicants breeze through. Others spend a month going back and forth. Jake, our guy from Austin, he almost left Malaysia because of this. At month 2, unable to receive local payments, unable to pay certain bills digitally, he sat in a KL cafe genuinely considering buying a flight home. He didn't. And we'll get to why in a moment. Number 2. Cultural recalibration. Malaysia is a Muslim-majority country. Ramadan changes the rhythm of the city for an entire month. Public displays of affection are socially frowned upon. Alcohol is available but not omnipresent. Friday afternoons in certain areas have a different pace. For some expats, this is a non-issue, even enriching. For others, particularly those who've never lived outside a Western social framework, it requires conscious adjustment. This isn't a criticism. It's context. Knowing this going in transforms it from a shock into a fascinating cultural education. Number 3. The language gap outside the major cities. In Kuala Lumpur and Penang, English is everywhere. Road signs, menus, business conversations, you will function comfortably. Venture into smaller towns and rural areas, and the English penetration drops significantly. If you're planning to base yourself anywhere outside the main urban centers, some Bahasa Malaysia basics aren't just polite, they're practical. But here's what separated the nomads who stayed from those who left. Community. Jake found it at month 4. A co-working space in Mont Kiara, an expat-heavy neighborhood in northwest KL, full of Americans, Europeans, Nigerians, Brazilians, Koreans, developers and designers and copywriters and consultants. All remote. All navigating the same learning curve. "I have more real friendships in KL," he said, "than I made in 10 years in Austin. And I think about that a lot." This is the hidden engine of the Malaysia migration story. It's not just cheap rent and good food. It's the unexpected, almost paradoxical discovery that leaving your home country can lead you to more genuine human connection than you ever had there. Internation's data confirms it. Malaysia's expat communities rank among the most integrated and welcoming of any destination globally. The mix of cultures, the affordability of socializing, the co-working infrastructure, the shared experience of choosing something different. It creates a bond that's hard to replicate in a city where everyone is too busy, too stressed, and too financially stretched to show up. Now here's the final piece. The part one want you to sit with. Of the over 4,000 Rantau pass holders surveyed by MDC in 2023, over 70% reported higher income, lower living costs, significantly reduced stress levels, and zero desire to return to their home country permanently. 70%. Not a marginal shift. A categorical life improvement. Reported by people who took the leap, absorbed the friction, built the community, and came out the other side saying, "I should have done this sooner." Malaysia didn't replace America for these people. Portugal didn't. Bali didn't. What changed, what actually changed, was the version of themselves they were living as. Too tired. Too financially squeezed. Too locked into a system that was consuming more than it was returning. And here's the twist that I want to leave you with, because this is the part that genuinely surprised me when I went deep on this research. The biggest obstacle for every single person in these stories wasn't the visa. It wasn't the cost. It wasn't the language or the culture or the bank account. It was the conversation they had with themselves at 2 a.m. before they booked the flight. The one where they listed every reason it might not work. Where they imagined every worst-case scenario. Where they asked themselves who they thought they were to want something different. That conversation. That's the real immigration barrier. Because the paperwork is solvable. The apartment is findable. The community is there, waiting. The only question, the one I want you to genuinely sit with, is whether you're going to keep designing your life around the options you've already tried. So let me ask you this. Is leaving the USA for Malaysia the smartest financial and lifestyle reset of the decade? Or is this a move that sounds romantic but falls apart under pressure? Are these digital nomads building something real? Or are they running from something they'll eventually have to face no matter where they land? Drop your answer in the comments right now. Tell me, would you do it? And if you already live abroad, tell us where, and whether you'd ever go back. This community is full of people who've asked the same questions you're asking. And the conversation happening below this video right now is worth staying for. Subscribe. You're exactly where you need to be.